My eye's twitching. I feel like I should put my glasses on. Are people going to see my eye twitch from there? Like...
As long as you don't have like a crazy eye that goes off.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Shots from the Winchester podcast presented by Greencastle. Today I have two very special guests with me, Daniel and Abby Riley. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm so glad you're here. So we're going to get into why they're here and have a really great podcast lined up for you. But before we start, we have to do a shot. We're in the Winchester. Obviously, Abby's probably not going to be doing a shot of what you select, so you'll get a special shot here of this ginger soother. So, Daniel, what do you want to do a shot of?
Let's do a shot of tequila.
Okay. It's appropriate, right? You're from Texas. Yes. Got to do the tequila. What is it? What is it called?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
It's called, oh man, it's this. I don't know.
Tequila.
It's, yes, in a very cool bottle. We've got the on-brand shot glasses here for you. All right, so what should we cheers to? We usually do, to me? How about to you? To us? To all of us. All right, cheers.
That's a good tequila.
That ginger is not bad. Good ginger.
Daniel and Abby, you're here on the podcast. They are business owners of Pivotal Nutrition. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the branding on Daniel's hat. So what is Pivotal Nutrition?
I'll let you take that.
Let me take it.
Yep.
So Pivotal is basically, it's a macro-based meal prep company. But really, truthfully, we are a time and convenience solver. Definitely nowadays everything is getting so busy and everybody has no time that we basically solve that problem. Individually prepared meals, packaged, delivered to your door, to drop offs, to gyms, stuff like that.
That's awesome. So who is Pivotal Nutrition for? Is it for a certain type of person? Is it for everybody, or?
I'd like to say everybody, and really truthfully it does fall into everybody's category. I wouldn't say like a niche as far as like bodybuilding or anything like that, but anybody needing to create that time. And actually, truthfully, I mean, we can save money at the store also because you're not panic buying. You're not, if you forget your list, you're not buying more. You go on, you basically order online, and yeah, it's just solving time.
Yeah. And it's not just the time, I'd say. I think a lot of it is you have really good quality too. Like you're not just focused on, giving anybody any old meal and getting it to their door. You're focused on having quality ingredients too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, quality is our number one. Quantity over quantity. We've said that from the very start. Because it would be easy and nice to pump out thousands of meals or whatever, but then you get into that manufactured feel, and it's just like everybody else. It's manufactured and it's low quality. So we strive to be quality as number one for us.
So how do you do that? Like, are you looking for specific ingredients? Are you looking for local vendors? How do you achieve that quality?
That falls in her department. That's where she's a stickler for a lot of that.
Yeah, quality has always been number one. And we're from Texas. Some people say that our draw is gone, but some things we say it's still around. But yeah, being from Texas, we have literally any kind of protein, vegetable, anything all year long that we have access to. And up here with the seasons, it was a little different. But you guys have incredible farms and all kinds of local produce and beef and chicken and stuff like that we've been able to learn about and utilize with our company. We wanted to bring that here. We didn't want to go to the store and get the same stuff anybody else can buy. My goal at the end of all of this I would love to have like a farm to table kind of situation, and we use a lot of local people. We've met some really incredible local businesses that we utilize with our chicken and distributors and stuff like that. And then we have our spices literally come from a guy out of New York that he makes everything that we get, and it's just really cool to be able to utilize those people around us.
Yeah. I can attest to that. Having been somebody who's eaten their meals for a few years, the quality does speak for itself. Like it's very different than, you know, if you're just going to a grocery store and picking up something to put in the microwave, like you can really tell the difference in the time that you spend and like the love and care that you put into your meals. So let's get into like, how did this whole thing get started, right? Like, I mean, there is a story behind this. So I'd love to hear, how did Pivotal Nutrition get started?
That's a fun one.
Yeah, it is.
So I come up here on a project, work in construction. I've worked construction for 20 plus years, traveled the country, hauling RV, camper, stuff like that. Was in the process. I went from actually working on my tools to like inspection, and then with that comes like eating everything, and then I got introduced to Wawa, and that started a whole new like downhill spiral. But I was working with some guys. We were in the process of losing weight. I got to my heaviest at 300, started working down, and then kind of hit a hard plateau around 260. Got with a guy, and then started going through the meal plan and stuff like that. And I was like, well, shit, if we're doing it, then maybe somebody else, I can cook for somebody else, and it'll pay for our meals, and then, you know, we'll just do it for free.
Our meals would be for free. That was his thing. So, we'll do this. We'll cook for a lot of people, and then our food will be for free.
Right.
I'm like, okay, maybe.
So I was at work and in the office and asking a couple of guys, like, hey, if I started cooking and like meal prepping for everybody, would you buy it? And he's like, yeah, because I'm tired of cooking in the camper. I was like, all right, cool. Then I'm gonna start one. Come home to our camper. And I was like,
yes, to our camper.
So I was talking to some guys at work and started looking at doing a meal prep business. She was like, let me do some research on like looking at the menu, seeing what we can do.
Woman, we want to plan and get it all on paper and talk about it for at least a week or something. You know. Yeah.
I said, cool, because we got orders for like next week. So we had to jump into like planning the menu. So basically what we did is we went off of my actual plan that I was eating, and then just started from there. And we was cooking in a fifth wheel camper for 6 months.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I bought a cookbook. I had started, you know, like being on Instagram and stuff like that. I had started following some people and bought Emily Frisella's cookbook, and that is how I taught myself how to cook. I did not cook before. I did not do anything. I went through that cookbook and I carry it with me every day. It stays in my backpack.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So how many people were you cooking for at like the most when you were in the camper?
So it started with just guys at work, and then it got up to doing around 10 to 12 people at work. So she would cook all day on Saturday. I'd get off work, I'd come home and then finish up, and we'd package and everything. Get up Monday morning, pull orders, and then I would bring them to work. After our meeting or whatever, I'd divvy them out. This is like, we had to buy a refrigeration, apartment size refrigerator, and a chest like cooler for underneath the tongue of our camper to store the meals. Then it got to, we were doing upwards of about 185, 200 meals.
Yeah, almost 200 meals by the time, whenever we moved out of the camper.
And then that's when we started to transition to where we started feeding outside people. So it was like, oh shit, we need to get kind of like legal now.
There's a process to this.
So we found a commercial kitchen, and then we've grown from there. But we were doing 185, 200 meals out of the camper. It would be like summer months, like because we started in the summer-ish.
Yeah.
I would come home and we couldn't run the ACs on the camper because it'd pop all the breakers. So it would be 120 to 125 degrees in the camper where she would be cooking, and then we had to step outside in like 95 degree to cool off.
Wow.
So
one little pot would fit on the stove, because if you've never been in an RV, like it's just 3 little burners, but they're like miniature. And so you'd have one. So a normal size pan doesn't fit.
Right.
So everything was cooked individually. And then in the little oven, I had one little sheet pan that would fit in the oven. Oh yeah, we made ice cream. We did all kinds of crazy stuff, like protein ice cream. There was nothing off limits. It was crazy.
Wow.
We see pictures now and we're like, what were we doing?
I think a lot of business owners probably think that. They're like, oh, in the beginning. But so that's really incredible. And I guess it spread word of mouth at that point, that like somebody was like, hey, you know, this is really good. You check it out. And hey, oh yeah, I like that. So then they tell a person, and so on and so forth. So now you're in a commercial space, right? You've expanded. How many people or how many meals, let's say, are you doing a week now?
roughly about 1,500. So, and then, I mean, in 3.5 years, it's all been word of mouth, and that's what we're grateful for.
Oh,
like, our customers are phenomenal. I think I've spent maybe $140 on Google ads and maybe Facebook ads. The rest has been 100% word of mouth. So
Because your product's good, so it speaks for itself. That's really cool. So probably a lot of people are wondering, and I am too because I've never asked you this, what is it like owning a business with your spouse and working with your spouse? Like, what are some of the challenges there, the pros, the cons? I would love to hear from both of you because I'm sure you both have different answers.
I can guarantee they're going to be completely different.
probably mine first,
You
so
go
she can
first.
stare at me.
You go
crazy.
first.
It's been fun. Prior to this, we never like fought and argued or anything like that.
No.
Plus, I was never home.
No.
So, because those years, we've been together for 21 years, married for 8 this year. And of those 21 years, I was home maybe like 6 years, like 5 years
Yeah.
or whatever. We've built a house and all that during those years. But then when she come up here full time and decide to start the business, there was knockdown dragouts. Just because it's a whole different stress that you never thought of or whatever. And then we've just worked through it, and now we've gotten way better with the communication, and that's been the biggest thing is the communication. Because I was always the type of, no, this is what we're doing, and we're going to figure it out. And then now we actually get into where we have to plan and discuss things a lot more, because you can't just go at it and say, no, this is what we're doing, because then the pitfall, that could drown you. So it's been interesting. It's definitely, you have to have a very, very strong relationship to start with, because if not,
Yeah.
it will be one of the ones that will end it. Because there's been times where, and that's always something that we've made a pact on, is we'll shut the business down before we shut the marriage down.
I had a lady tell me that at the beginning. She told me that from the beginning, like, don't let this business be over your marriage, because it's easy to do that. It's very easy to do that. And like he said, I can't disagree with anything that he said, but for me, because I went from working, having my own, like being very independent, because with him gone, I took care of our place, I worked, I had my own stuff going on, and then when he would come home, it was just kind of like a cool party, like, oh, okay, now we get to live together and do our things together, and then he would be gone again, and my life would go back to being what it was. Coming up here, you don't get that. And then we started a business together, and he was the one funneling, this is how I want it, this is what I want, and I'm trying to make it happen. And it caused lots of days not talking.
Yeah. And being in a camper,
Like,
you
yeah.
can't go to the other side of the house.
No, you have to literally
You
walk
storm
outside.
off and you go to the living room where I can still see you from the bedroom.
No,
So-
yeah, but like you said, now we communicate way better, and you have to. We still have arguments, and there's still times that I walk out, like, because you need that time. It's just like in any marriage or in any business partnership, but you have to talk about things and put everything on the table, because even though we are working towards the same goal, we have completely different paths of getting there,
Yeah.
completely different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what makes this work. Like,
So do you have different roles that you kind of cover down on, so you're not kind of stepping on each other's toes? Or
we're getting better at that too.
Yeah.
That was something that was hard, because he would always say, this is what I want. I was the worker bee, I would make it happen. And now with him being in the business full time, he sees that that's a little different than what he saw before. But we're working on getting those lined out. And then, we decided to, well, not decided, some greater power decided to throw a curveball at us and have a baby. So that's been another interesting thing to navigate around, because now everything I'm doing, I'm having to delegate, which is really hard for me. So we're working through all that, but it's coming. It's
so
good.
we'll have you back in like 9 months or so to see, like,
Yeah.
hey, like, how is
See
it
how it
working out
went.
now? Because that's a whole other challenge, is to have
Exactly.
a child and also be business owners.
Yes.
And you're still deeply ingrained in the business, because you're not at a point yet that you're able to like really remove yourself. So like,
Yeah.
maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
So what is it like building a business from the ground up? I think a lot of people want to know that. And I think there's a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs and I think might not quite understand the lift it takes. So what's it like building the brand and everything from the ground up?
Everything you didn't know you had, plus some.
Yeah.
Like, literally,
It takes everything.
Everything. Every single day. Even when, like, the world is on you and you have no idea what you're like, how to like just scoot it over a little bit, you still have to go. Like, you still just have to figure it out and work through it. And incredible support system, which we have through our customers, our team, each other, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
No, it's, yeah, like she said, it takes everything. I mean, it's just one of those, it's constantly punching you in the mouth. I mean, every day you get up, you're getting punched somehow. You know, if everything starts off good, you're waiting for that moment for something to go wrong or whatever. And then, you know, yeah, we have the vision for the business and everything else, but now you bring employees in, you have to forecast a vision through your employees to make sure we're all working towards it. And then you're dealing, you know, they have lives, so you deal with like what they go on, and you're their support system. So it's every ounce of you is drained, and I mean drained in a good way, because I mean it's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And this is coming from, I was a union iron worker working 300-400 foot in the air, building crazy cranes, stuff like that, to, you know, doing other things, to where this is the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's also the most rewarding, because when you drop off the meals at somebody's house and they say, I've lost 30-40 pounds, I've lost 100 pounds, you know, or I've won nationals or something like that, that's the reward. That's the carrot on the end of the stick, I guess, that we're working towards. Because I get, you know, that's when I see somebody else succeed or whatever, then I've done my job. So now it's just multiplying it to where I can do it more, to where, you know, you build that. Yeah. So it takes a lot, definitely from ground up. I mean, you learn a lot of lessons, definitely a lot of financial lessons that you were not ready for. Yeah. And I mean, but it's one of those that you just keep working through.
Spoken like a true leader, both of you, like really like putting other people first, and, you know, caring about the success of your customers, and that's what drives you. That's a leadership lesson, right? Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, because you can get hung on the, you know, wanting the monetary things or wanting the materialistic things and all that, but you go buy a car, it's 2 weeks later it's just a car or whatever, you know, and you're just driving it to work. Where this, you see the residual, where people continue to chase and we're able to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. Which is just awesome to me. Yeah. I mean, just because, I mean, that's the things that, because we were, what was it, Friday? Or we was getting gas and fueling up the van for the Saturday. I mean, it's one of those days. I mean, you're just going through, and you're in the middle of it.
We literally had just got like a kind of a bad phone call, like from our kitchen, like an issue come up, like nothing that you couldn't work through, but we were like working through it in our brain. It's Friday afternoon, everybody's tired, we're fixing to get ready to deliver, like we're finishing up, supposed to be.
Yeah, it's just one of those setbacks. And then a guy walked around the front of the van, and I thought I was figuring he's going to like, what is this? What do you do or whatever? And he's like, hey, I'm one of your customers. I just want to tell you that phenomenal service. I love your company. I love everything that y'all are about. I was like,
he called both of us off guard. We were like, oh my God, thanks, guys. You know, like,
so, you know, it's those little things that push you forward, you know, and that's what I look for in every situation. So, I mean, to be part of people's families and their livelihood is what we do it for.
Yeah. So then what's one lesson that you have learned through the development of Pivotal, like to the point that you're at now? Like, what's the biggest takeaway for you?
Dang, Lindsay, that's a tough one. getting me in my feels. I mean, honestly, you can do it, and yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's a really tough question.
No, I mean, I think you hit it. I mean, that it is possible. Everything that you think of is possible. It's just going to take work.
Yeah.
You can't shy away from the work, and if you want the easy route, you're not going to get anything out of it. You'll be one of the things that gets spit out to the side. But if you really like put the work in and strive to be the best, then good things will happen. I mean, and
I guess that's where I was trying to like form my thoughts. Like, it's not, just like you said, it's not about the money. It's not about what we have. It's about the friendships that we get to make and the family that we get to be a part of and stuff, because that's what you guys are. That's exactly why we do this every single day. So,
yeah. That's a great answer. That's great. So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to start a business? That might be a little bit of overlap from lessons learned, but you know, what's your advice to the audience if there's anybody out there who's like, I'm thinking about being an entrepreneur? What would you say to them?
Dive into your numbers 100%.
That's what I was going to say. Know your numbers.
And know that very first off. I was using the job that I had to cushion everything. So if the business needed money, I would write a check immediately and hand it to it and say, just, you know, figure it out. we'll catch it up later, we'll figure it out later and all that. Which numbers has always been a thing because you got to know your cost breakdown, and in order to be a business, you have to be profitable. But I would just pad it to where, you learn those lessons. You're going to learn the lessons one day or another. I mean, and we've learned some of those very valuable lessons to where first thing I would say, know your numbers 100%, like what's coming in, what's going out, and then like figure your profit margins and then stand behind your product.
Yeah, 100%. Know your why.
Yeah.
Know your why, and because that's what's going to keep you going. Yeah. And don't quit. Mm-hmm. Don't ever quit.
Great advice. That's good. That's good for anybody. That's applicable even for people who aren't, entrepreneurs who are just like kind of starting out their career and everything. So what's the future look like for Pivotal Nutrition?
I want to take over the country. No, it's
world domination.
I mean, I want a second location in Texas so we can hit the Midwest more. Also with, family being down there and everything. But I want to be the house name for meal prep or like a meal company. I feel that companies have gotten to the point where they're just mass produced, where they don't really care about the individual as much, to where I want to be that family driven brand, to where, when somebody says, I need a meal prep company, we're the first go-to. Not because of how good our food is, but everything that comes behind our core values and all that people can stand with and be a part of. Just, the mission's bigger than just, being food or whatever. Mm-hmm. So.
You have anything to add to that?
No, because it's the same. Just like I said, we're working towards the same goal, and it's just, taking different paths to get there. But same thing.
Well, you've grown a lot in 3 years, so who knows what the next 3 years are going to bring. If you're growing at that rate continuously, it's going to be insane. So if the audience wants to find you on social media, how can they find you? What platforms?
We're on Instagram at Pivotal Nutrition 1. Facebook is the same, and then
it's the number one. Pivotal Nutrition, the number one.
And then on the internet, it's pivotalnutrition1.com.
Yep.
Okay, and then if somebody wants to order meals from you or try it out, is there an order minimum, or can they what's the kind of ground rules for ordering?
We don't have any. We just want to get our food in front of you. And once you get it, then we want to take care of you from there. So. And
you deliver to
all over
homes.
The place. Yes.
How far is your radius?
65 miles from Winchester.
Okay, so that's probably a lot of the audience. And then you also drop off at gyms, right? So
I think we have upwards of 20 locations that we drop off in here amongst that 65-mile radius.
Yeah.
So where can somebody find that information? Is that on your website too?
On the website, yep.
Okay. And then if they're going to order, when do they order and when will they get their food?
We have 2 delivery dates. Okay. So you can order Sunday by 7 for Wednesday delivery. We try to keep that close, but we don't really do that. We'll go wherever you are. And then on Wednesday at midnight is the cutoff for Saturday delivery. And we deliver all day Saturday. We get our drivers on the road by 9, and it's literally all day.
Yeah.
They're out all day.
Yep.
So.
And then it arrives to your door in a little bag, oftentimes with a handwritten note, which is a really nice touch. Business owners out there kind of take note on that. But it's been really awesome having you. I would love to have you back for a part 2, especially after the little one arrives, to see one of the lessons learned.
How I survived that.
Right. Everybody out there, please like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. You'll get more great content just like this, and give Pivotal Nutrition a follow on their social media platforms and try out a meal. I'll be honest with you, I was skeptical at first many years ago, and now I don't go a day without it, even if I'm on vacation, I take the stuff with me. So give it a try. All right, you two, thank you so much. It was awesome. Lindsey. I'm going to double handshake here.